Bleib. Jetzt. That's what they like to do. They like to greet. So, this guy here jumps up. He reaches all the way to my nose to nose, and he is probably some 50 kilo. So they can be dangerous if you are the wrong person. But in my case, as you can see, they are very nice and well behaved. But the males also fight a lot, which is normal. They are country dogs and they have no idea what a leash is and all the other things, which is totally normal here in Spain. So I should mention this. I also answered a comment, so let me take the opportunity and explain this in words. So those are Spanish Mastiff dogs, and they are not mascots. They are not dogs for a family in an apartment or a house or so. Their job is to be outside, and they roam and they run free, but their job is to keep animals safe. So once they are connected to, for example, sheep, they will then be inside of the flock of sheep and they will defend that flock against anyone, be it another animal or be it a human or whatever. And in some areas, for example around Madrid, there are signs that say this is ranching territory, and if you are on a bicycle, please get off and push it. If you have a dog, keep the dog on a very short leash, or better, don't bring a dog. And don't try to get close to the sheep, because there are dogs inside, these guys, and they will attack. That is their job, and they don't distinguish. So whether it's a wolf, a fox, another dog, or a human who does not belong there, because you are moving over the land that is owned by a farmer, by a pastor, by someone who owns the animals there. You are not supposed to be there. This is a business of someone else, and you don't go into the compound of any business and walk around and touch what you see there. This is not what you're supposed to be doing. So these dogs are in those flocks of sheep, or they guard cattle and whatever, and their job is to be angry, to attack, to chase away, or if needed, to kill. So that is totally normal. If you go to Turkey, there are also very large breeds of dog with the same purpose. So this is not like in a metropolitan area where people have mascots and they are well behaved and well educated. Here, these dogs have their instincts, and there is no need to educate them because they know what to do. And when they fight, you hear them doing that funny sound, 9. Yeah, that is training. Of course, here and there's blood, but that is also instinct. I can tell them not to, like I just did, and they will obey that most of the time. But here and there's some blood. And let's see, here, you see how that then looks like. So that ear is broken, as you can see. And the small one here, Oliver, he lost similar fights, and you can see the ear is split because he was fighting with the big guy. And the larger you are as a dog, the higher you rank, and here and there the others get reminded. It's the males fighting with other males, but as you can see what Oliver is doing, so they also lick each other, and even after they have bitten each other, they will then cure the wound. That is also part of it. So there's nothing wrong with that. This is Spanish Mastiff, And it doesn't matter if it's a Mastiff or a Kangal or whatever. Those breeds are guardian dogs and they know what to do. There is no need to educate them, except to socialize them a little bit, so that what I'm doing is possible. And it's very easy because you just feed them and interact a little bit. But I don't go with these dogs on a walk. So they have their place here in a compound because we did not condition them on guarding sheep. So they stay inside, because if they go outside they will hunt sheep, and we don't want that. That gets us in trouble. So that is now their life, and that's it. So they have to be in a place where there is a fence around, and any animal that comes in here, be it the sheep or chicken, we had that, they will be chased down. So that is how it is, and there's nothing wrong with it. And you can't compare, for example, a German Shepherd with these guys. The genetics are different, and a German Shepherd will likely lose if they encounter each other. So that is not the same thing. And I had a few conversations, and by the way, I'm showing you that because we cut this down a little bit so that the Bermuda grass can grow better. And originally we wanted to have the sheep in here, but this did not work. I can probably insert a short clip that I did on the phone. So the sheep were afraid. They did not come in here. So we need to take care of this manually or with the machine. So I had a few conversations with people in Germany about livestock guardian dogs, and no, in Germany they can't have dogs like those Mastiffs because they are considered too dangerous. So they are on a list of dangerous dogs and you can't have them, which is why wolves in Germany apparently have a very easy play and attack successfully a lot of animals that are out there grazing. Seems to be a huge problem. Here in Spain, most people say, I don't have any problem with that because I have these guys and they take care of it. And they have usually a larger number. So when they are pretty serious and they have wolves around, they have a dozen or so. So it appears. So there is a YouTube channel by a young lady in Extremadura, Nazareth Martin is her name, and she talks about that. And she has a larger number of these dogs. And apparently there is no problem. But here in our area, currently there is no problem with wolves. But the Iberian wolf does exist, but has not shown up here in this area again. As you might know, people in the past have hunted them down and almost eliminated them all. And now they are coming back because that's what a lot of people wish for. And in some places there is a lot of complaint and anxiety and fear, while here, in the case of this lady Nazareth, people don't see a problem because they have the right type of dog. Of course, one might argue, I don't want animals to fight, but that's nature, and nature is not nice. So this is part of it, and you can then choose between having the animals locked away in a barn all the time, or be there, and in Europe we can't be there with a rifle, or accept the other things. So it's something that people apparently need to wrap their heads around with again, but I should not talk so much about this, because I'm the new guy here and what do I know. And after all, we will do things in a different way, and we have these dogs because their mama dog Miriam decided to give birth to them here, actually right there, when we had a few IBC toads. Yeah, she picked that spot, and she chose us, and so we have them. The plan was not to have these dogs and not that many, but so be it. And I'm pretty happy with these guys. They can be a nuisance, but there is no problem. And each one knows their name, so they react when they come, unless the hunting instinct has been triggered. Then all bets are off. And they coordinate. So they call each other and somehow they hunt as a pack. They are little wolves. Canis lupus familiaris. That is their scientific name. And Canis lupus is the wolf. So those are the 8 wolves that we have here. And there is number 8. And the other one somehow went over there. They have each their preferred place. So that should be it for the moment. So let me add this. So there is Miriam, Mama Dog. And we just missed a clear sign, leave me alone. Yeah, because that is what she does. So she shows them her teeth and then they back off. So this is how we are here. Is that right, Franz? Yeah? And of course, the guys are very jealous. Huh? See? I want to be left alone. The old lady has her roots. And right now they want to be here under the porch because it might rain again. So they prefer to be here. scheduled for the upcoming week is also cleanup. So we will use our weed whacker and cut down all the mustard that is going everywhere, like here and over there and there on the other side. It's full of that. Either it gets cut down and removed, or like there, cut down and left as feed for the soil. Here we don't want to have good soil because this is a site for a future building. So it's better that it compacts well and is not full of organic compounds. So, but here this corner, this is ugly and there is material in there. So it's the pipe and also other stuff and all this. I would like to put in a different place and if possible reuse it, because we will need to do some fencing and maybe some of that can be used. At some point you can just throw it away because it's then very, very hard to get straight. But here and there are rolls that we can use. And we also a while ago bought this. This is very good pig fence. It's 1 meter high, and that was supposed to be used to fence in the whole zone B, the perimeter. And we have set a few fence posts that are there, but the wire mesh is missing. So maybe soon we will then use that. And we also need a brace, and I do see it. Here it is, because there's a fence post, one of the thick ones, that needs a brace, and that is the brace. So there we have the material, no need to buy anything. And that, by the way, is now the tactic at the moment, is we are a little bit short with money. We replace the money with ingenuity, creativity, and we use the material that has accumulated over time, because frequently things got bought again because they weren't stored properly. So all that chaos gets now resolved, and we use the material to build all kinds of things here in the compound. And when we are done with the compound, then we move out. And that means there, B2, the wannabe food forest. But of course, here and there, this is not a very strict plan. Here and there, a few things get also done over there. So I have a list. No point in sharing, you will see when I report about the progress. But that is the general direction. So first, over there, on that side. Not on the other side. This comes later. So the thing about the pond and wetland and all these things, later. First, we are going to take care of this side, because it seems easier to achieve. So here, what I wanted to show you is that a lot of things have sprouted and grown. So that's the sweet corn there. That is coming up very good. It was overseeded because I wasn't sure if the seed is still valid or viable. Apparently it is. And it doesn't matter that there's a little bit more. You could call it a waste, but the risk was nothing grows. And as you can see, there are a few spots where there's nothing. And in others there's more than needed. Doesn't matter. Here in the front, this is some flowers that will come up. We will see how they look like. 2 different kinds. The trees are making roots. While they are making roots, they won't grow. There is nothing seeded in between. This might be a single corn that ended up there. I have some intention to level this further and make it nice, and seed a few more things like salad, just because I have the seed for that. Here that is also some of the flowers. So this is a row of flowers and a row of corn, basically. Just to see what will come up. And the fence is made this way, and it's fake, so there is no electricity here. You can see, I can touch it, nothing happens. The dogs will respect the lower part, and if the horses are in here, they will respect the upper part. Because I don't want them to go in here now that other things are growing. When there were only the trees, the dog could walk over this, nothing would happen. But now it is better to protect this. And after all, this is going to be a garden. But again, I mentioned this needs to be filled a little bit more. Then this gets lifted, obviously. Probably there will be a step. So this area will be a little bit higher and then the other area a little bit lower. We'll see, but there are quite a few holes to fill. And the material for all that will come out of the pond, which I will show you now. And this one here, Schneeflocke, this morning didn't want to go into the dog enclosure where they get their feed. She decided to stay outside, so I had to provide her a ration also on the outside. Sometimes she does that. Each one has their own mind and they like to do things their way, but that's okay. Yeah, see, there is the bowl and everybody else went in except her, but okay. So now let me show you, and you see the rain makes all this come up. This looks like it is the same as over there, Malba. I think it was mallet in English. So this plant grows very well as forage. There's more of it, and it's also a medicinal plant. And by the way, this tree here is something very interesting. This has not received a lot of water all the time, and I would think it has entered a symbiotic relationship with the mycorrhizal fungi and is connected to the root system of that oak tree there. And therefore both of them get water and nutrients. That's what I assume. Because without a lot of irrigation, which it did not receive, where would the water come from? So that seems to be the case. But I have no proof. So, and in there also stuff are growing. And I'm waiting that this dries out a little bit so that I can risk getting the backhoe in there. Not all the way down there, because there you can see it is definitely a lot moister. I try to keep the machine up and then use the arm of the excavator to remove that pile there, because there's a stone that I cannot move. I can take the two little ones out and use them over there to mark the driveway, and then I can remove a lot of other material. I need to do it in two phases, so move it from here to there, and then from the top being up there I can then lift it up and then move it with the bucket. That's the way I have to do it. Does not work otherwise. And the thing to show is, as this is connected to the water in the ground, it will not flow away. The other areas around, despite the rain, they are drying out because it infiltrates into the sandy soil until it reaches the water further down, but here that does not happen. So this works as I intended. You have to dig deep enough, and then you have a pond where the water stays low, but it stays, so it is not completely dry. And once plants, like the trees, have reached that level, they will also have water. That is why all the oak trees are there and do not disappear. So these palovnias are now in their second year, at the beginning of the second year. And once they have made enough roots, by penetrating all that sandy soil, they will then be able to sustain themselves without irrigation. So they need to reach 3.5 meters, and then they are fine. And with all that rain, all these trees are now making the bigger leaves. Before they kept the leaves small, and now they are making the big ones. So you can see where that goes. And the one there that started fresh from a trunk already has the big leaf. You can see that is definitely a big one. They can be 80 centimeters in diameter. So what we also did here, we used our weed whacker and chopped down all the grasses and other things. And you can see that we have a good grass cover here. And originally we wanted to bring in the sheep, but they were afraid because it smells doggy-like and they don't want to go there. So we need to use a machine here. There is no other way. And maybe later the horses can do maintenance in the dog enclosure, because I prefer to have an animal feed on all this instead of us cutting it down. Interesting is also that we do have mushrooms. So it is moist enough that mushrooms come up. And I learned that what we see here is the seed head. The mushroom itself is in the ground. So this is a very positive thing. And sure, it is moist, but then it rained during night. So you can see that this is the future ground cover, and it's a mix of different grasses. The Bermuda grass is what we seeded, and the other grasses are just natural here from this area. And again, here's the little stuff. We will see what this is going to be. So this is looking perfect, like I envisioned it to be. And you see, the palovnias do make some shade. Of course it's a spot, but given you have enough of them, the area will definitely be cooler, which is why we use this tree. So this tree is a tool. So you guys keep mentioning tree species that we should have, moringa and all that list. Yes, definitely. The thing is, for the moment, it makes more sense and it is easier to plant a lot of these, so thousands, because you can just order them and then they will show up, and we know that they will grow and they will not require a lot of water, and it's less challenging. And once they are 2 or 3 years old, so let's say 2 years old, they can be shredded into wood chips. And as there is no source locally here for wood chips, that's the way to get them. So speaking about the wood chips, let me quickly tell you that. So here in Andalusia, the government is very proud of using organic material for furnaces, for heating. So wood chips are available, but they are available dry and meant for bakeries and other similar things where they get burned as a heating source. So that stuff, when you can buy it, is expensive because there is a high value market. It's not like elsewhere where someone who does landscaping will happily deliver the wood chips for free as waste material. That is elsewhere. Here, this is a valuable, commercially sought after resource, and it costs big money. And therefore, we won't get them, because if someone sells that to us, they will be dry, ready to be burned, and we want them wet and not pay for the drying process. So therefore, that is the source in the future for wood chips. So point is, let them grow 2 years and then put them in the chipper, and now we have wood chips. And the cool thing of these trees is you cut them down very close to the ground, and then they will grow again, like this one there did. We did not cut it, it was a horse that toppled the tree last year, but doesn't matter, it comes back. And there is a recommendation to do a technical cut after 1 year. So basically last autumn we would have cut them down for a commercial purpose, so that the new one comes up and grows faster and better and straighter, because that's what you want for wood. So these trees serve multiple purposes, and the other trees, they will then follow. And I have my hopes, like I mentioned a few times, that some collaboration with Life Terra will provide us all the other saplings and also some money to plant them, so that we can either feed people or pay people locally to help us planting them. These trees, not here in the dog enclosure, but in all the other places. These we will plant for a commercial purpose, for a wood harvest in the future. And in some other areas we plant them as biomass so that we can chop them up. And it's a resource that will replenish itself. And speaking about that, now let's have a look here. So here is another resource. All this is for biomass, so that it makes soil. So when all that stuff has grown up, it will be chopped down and placed as mulch in order to decompose and create soil, because this is minerals and a little bit of nutrients, which is why they can grow. But all these plants do not expect a lot. But the interesting thing is, I need to be careful. There is a palovnia tree. If that tree grows slower for some reason than the surrounding plants, I need to cut a circle all around the tree to reserve its space. Right now we are cool, there is no problem, nothing to be done. But if the other things begin to shade the tree out, then I need to spring into action. And you can see they are not growing all equally. So those there, they grow a little bit faster than those here around the tree. And this was phase 1. And then I got some help, and then we seeded all that. For some reason there is less plants here than over there. Well, it's probably because of this gap. But you can see all this stuff is growing very well. And again, there's the thing about the trees, but as the other plants were seeded later, the tree is ahead. And hopefully will stay ahead. We will see. So this plan is also working out very well. And at the time that we want to bring the horses in here to do some maintenance, we will then fence this off so that they won't get there, and also do the garden bed. So I guess that's the update here from the compound. I have an intention to fly a drone and show you this from above, so that you can understand a little bit better what is where and all this. But my iPad ran out of battery and I need to recharge it before I can fly.